The Phillies were, of course, never, ever going to lose a game in the presence of greatness last night. Flo Rida in the house. Of course, the Phillies had that in the bag. Alec Bohm continues his hot streak. The Phillies make a signing about 20 minutes ago. We got a lot to get into in today's PHLY Phillies podcast. Hello and happy Wednesday to all, live here from the Xfinity Lounge. This is the PHLY Phillies podcast presented by Wawa. Happy Wednesday to all. Jamie Lynch, Corey Seidman with you. And this is, part breaking news emergency podcast, Corey. As the Phillies about 14 minutes ago, it comes out courtesy of Robert Murray. We saw speculation earlier. Young Ethan sent us a screenshot from Roto World of Nestor Cortes could be available, and the Phillies may have interest. They, in fact, did have interest because they go out and sign him to a major league deal. Tell us what you know about Nestor Cortes joining the Phillies.
Yeah, so the terms of the deal, it's a major league deal, as you mentioned, which means he'd be added to the roster at some point soon here. Nestor Cortes, 32-year-old veteran, lefty starter. It remains to be seen what the role would be with the Phillies because he's coming off significant missed time due to injury. Cortes last season, if you remember when there was all the, what was the name of the torpedo bats?
Oh, yeah.
So the first day of the season last year, Cortes got bombed at Yankee Stadium. He gave up 8 runs. It was like 5 homers. And then all those stories were written about, the torpedo bats are going to change baseball, when really it was just he had a bad day at Yankee Stadium. But so Cortes ended up started with the Brewers last year, got traded to the Padres, dealt with arm injury throughout the season, and then last October underwent surgery that was going to keep him out 9 to 10 months. So here we are now, about that time frame later. Cortes is ramping back up. Phillies liked what they saw. They're going to add him on a major league deal. It's not official yet, but multiple reporters reporting it. So
Robert Murray's pretty good.
Yeah, and it's been confirmed by some other people at The Athletic. So, yeah, the Phillies add Nestor Cortes. At the very least, this could be a left-handed bullpen depth option, but he hasn't pitched out of the bullpen, Cortes, since 2021, and he's an extreme soft tosser, so it's not the profile you usually see out of the bullpen. I guess it's also protection in case Andrew Painter needs to be shut down at some point.
I was just going to say, what role do you envision for him? Because we all know the Phillies bullpen needs help. If he is coming off significant arm injury, if he wanted to ease back into things, perhaps if you want to try to save some innings on Zack Wheeler and Chris Sánchez. Because, look, the Phillies aren't going to win anything unless Wheeler, Sánchez, and Luzardo are probably going 6 and 7 innings deep come playoff time. If you wanted to maybe take some innings off of their arms, and we'll get into Zack Wheeler later today, but perhaps he could be that middle relief 2 to 3 inning type of guy. Is he strictly a Painter insurance policy because the Phillies have lacked starting pitching depth this year? What do you think is the most likely scenario here?
Well, I think all those are options. The Painter thing, so Painter's career high is 118 innings last season. Right now, between the major leagues and AAA, Painter's at about 110. So he's only a start or 2 away from exceeding his career high. That's one element of it. There's also the potential that Painter doesn't pitch well. If he doesn't pitch well enough to keep that 5th spot, maybe the Phillies shuffle Cortes in there. But it's been so long since Cortes pitched that I can't imagine that he's going to be starting anytime soon. I mean, he would have to be built up to 75 to 90 pitches. Maybe they use him as an opener to go 2 innings to begin a game the way teams do so often against the Phillies and did again last night. But at the very least, it is, like you said, depth in case several things go poorly. Like Zack Wheeler, for example. Sure. We're going to talk about it later, but his last handful of starts have not been that good, and he's showing some signs of maybe that he could use an extra day or 2 here or there. Cristopher Sánchez is going to be bearing in on 200 innings by the end of the season, so any sort of depth can help. They didn't add a number 5 starter at the deadline. Maybe they add some potential starting depth here.
Is this something where he'll go down to do some rehab assignments down at Lehigh Valley before their season's over? How do you expect, like, timeline-wise? They obviously want him to feel comfortable and want him to look competent. So what do you think? How does this play out over the next 2-3 weeks?
So it's August 19th, and I mean, you get the guy in the organization before September 1st, which would make him eligible for postseason play, which is why the move comes now. It also gives him 3 weeks to a month to start ramping up. You know, if they want to use him as a starter, that would require multiple starts on a rehab, quote unquote rehab assignment. But that would also require that he's been throwing. I don't know the details of how much he's been throwing. I guess we'll find out today, maybe at the ballpark, but. At the very least, you know, the Phillies, we've said all season they need some starting pitching depth. They've really had none in the minors, aside from maybe an Alan Ronhell. Cortes is a guy who once upon a time had some success in the majors, you know, especially with the Yankees. He's not that same guy anymore, and he needs pinpoint command to have success, but, you know, maybe he can help you a game or two this season.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it unfolds. No doubt they need depth in the starting rotation. He's certainly a name out there. I was looking quickly because this all happened right before the show. At his baseball savant before the injury last year, and there's some things to like. So we'll see what happens. It's an interesting move. You know, not a ton of moves you can make outside of calling up some guys from the minors this time of year. So the Phillies clearly are throwing everything they can at the wall to get ready for the playoffs here, and it will be interesting. But Nestor Cortes is going to be joining the Phillies. But in 2024, Corey, before all these injuries, his fastball run value was in the 95th percentile in the league. His pitching run value is around 68th percentile. His fastball velo, as you said, was 19th. So he is that soft tossing type. But his average exit velo was 25th percentile. His whiff rate was 40th percentile. His walk rate was 87th percentile. So he doesn't put a ton of guys on base. Hard hit percentage very low. Ground ball percentage very low. You know, there's a lot to like in his advanced kind of metrics a little bit. So we'll see. We'll see if Caleb Cotham can get his claws in him and work some magic here for the final month of the season.
Yeah, and that'll just be a matter of whether his fastball has any velocity to it. Like when he was in 2024, he was averaging 92 with his fastball. Cortes, last season, he was like 90, 89, 90. So, I mean, if he's like 86 to 88, anybody's a different guy. But he has experience getting outs even with diminished velocity. It's hard to get anybody out these days with 86 to 88, but we'll see what he's got. This is a low risk, very low risk.
I would say no risk.
Yeah, no risk, low reward type move, and you need the pitching depth. Dave Dombrowski's been around forever. He knows that as you're bearing down, like toward the end of the season when guys' workloads are at their highest, that you need a little bit more help.
And his typical profile, he throws the four-seamer about 38% of the time, cutter 35%, changeup 14%, and the sweeper 13%. So maybe Caleb Cotham can work on that sweeper a little bit and make it absolutely filthy. So a little bit of breaking news before the show today. Nestor Cortes joins your Philadelphia Phillies.
He joins a red-hot Phillies team.
Seriously.
5 wins in a row. It's like in basketball when you add a LeBron, all the guys want to join. Yeah. Phillies have won 5 in a row.
Chasing Nestor's
been seeing Alec Bohm on all these highlights. He's like, I got to get a piece of that.
Well, I think what he actually saw was Flo Rida performing for the people last night. What a night at the ballpark. You just knew with greatness in the building, Corey, the Phillies weren't going to let Flo Rida down.
No, absolutely not.
There's no chance.
And he didn't. And the final out, I mean, he was going crazy. We could see him from the press box now.
Ethan has a picture of Flo Rida on top of the dugout. Would you give your baby to Flo Rida? I would. I trust that man implicitly.
Is that like a newborn?
It looks like probably 3 to 4 month old.
Wow. I hope he had earplugs in. Not that we don't love Flo Rida's music, but I mean, he's just right up on the action there.
Absolute bops.
You know, I'll tell you what, man. Last night, there wasn't a fan who left their seat after the game. I mean, usually for those concerts, there will be like maybe 10% leave, 25% leave. Everybody stayed for Flo Rida except for me. I used it as an opportunity to beat the traffic, get on out of there. There's no better feeling than being able to leave a stadium right after a game and not deal with the throngs of cars. Bet. So that was my highlight of the night.
Yeah, but Flo Rida didn't get on till about 10:20, I think, and according to reports, performed till about 11:30.
Oh, he gives the fans a show.
Yeah.
It's like Bruce Springsteen, Elton John, Flo Rida.
Our own Nick, our account manager, was there last night and said he was electric. He said he put on a great show.
I saw him come dancing into the office today.
It's going down for real. All right, but last night was another good night for the Phillies. Let's start with Zack Wheeler before we get to the bats and the comeback there, Corey. You were down there the last 2 nights. You saw Chris and Zack both pitch. It looked like the Marlins last night could not pick up that sinker inside on Zack. That looked really good. He kind of said in the locker room after the game, like, yeah, the fastball felt good, felt the best it has in a while. But he did, kind of beat himself up a little bit. He was like, it just wasn't my typical self. I thought he looked good until, some of the runs were cheapies, not cheapies, but like, the one error, Bohm. It's a bad throw by Arise, but Bohm, if you have a real first baseman there, they probably make that play. Whatever. He's not going deep into games right now. And Don Mattingly was asked about it after the game and said something I kind of disagree with, because I think the only way the Phillies can really make a real title run here, and we'll get to their actual chances in a little bit, is if Zach, Jesus, and Chris, it sounds weird saying Cristopher, go 7 deep. Like, I don't know if you can survive exposing this bullpen to more than 2 innings. I think you need those 3 guys to go 7. And Don last night was like, yeah, typically in baseball playoffs, you don't lean on your starters to go 7 or 8 innings. A lot of times it's just 5 or 6. When he was asked about Wheeler. It is true, but I don't know if that's a good recipe for this team.
Yeah, it's probably not, but I mean, it is true that like even the aces in the play, like Tarek Skubal's going to have starts of 5 1/3 for the Dodgers in the playoffs. It's just the way it is. But I will say, you look at the big picture of last night. Wheeler went 5 innings. Joan Duran was unavailable. Harper, Turner, Schwarber were combined 0 for 11, and the Phillies still won the game.
It's because they got Alec Bohm on this team, who we've never once doubted.
But, I mean, all season long we've talked about how this is an extremely top-heavy team. They need the stars to be stars every night. Last night, the stars were not stars, and they won a game. That's exactly what you need this time of the season. It's so great, and we're going to talk more about Bohm and Stott later, but it's so great that you have other guys stepping up right now. With Wheeler, last night, the Marlins manager, Clayton McCullough, said that right away they could tell that Wheeler had this real upshoot with his fastball. And not only was it exploding, but it was like rising late as it reached the plate, and that's why he was missing so many bats. The issue for him last night was the walks, and it was very uncharacteristic. He had 4 walks. Wheeler, we have a graphic showing Wheeler's last handful of starts. I don't know if we already shared this, Ethan, but yeah, so Wheeler, if you look at these last 5 starts, there have been a couple where he walked 4 and he walked 5. There have been a couple of 5-run appearances. This is not like Zack Wheeler at all. And so in totality, these last 5 starts, a 6.64 ERA, a 1.62 WHIP. I mean, you're used to seeing this guy go 6 1/3, 7, sometimes deeper than 7 every time out. Right now, maybe that for him, this is like, I don't know if it's like a bit of a, I'm not going to say dead arm period because he still has as much velocity, and we just talked about how explosive the fastball was last night, but there's certain elements of his game that are just off. Like he's yanking fastballs. He had a spot last night in the game where I think he threw 7 straight balls. And
that is bizarre.
It's just that's not Zack Wheeler. And 2 of these starts were against the lowly Marlins too. Like I don't want to say like the July 27th start, the Marlins were still pretty good. They still had Liam Hicks, Kyle Stowers, but the Marlins lineup that Wheeler faced last night, you would think that he would have been able to do more against. Second straight time that Griffin Conine, by the way, has taken him out. I expect Zack Wheeler's going to turn this around, but it highlights the point that you can't take for granted that every start from these guys is going to be dazzling. It's not a guarantee that game 1 of the playoffs of a playoff series or game 2 of a playoff series, if that's when Wheeler's pitching, that he gives you 6 scoreless innings, and you're going to need to find other ways to win, as the Phillies did last night.
Yeah, they did find a way to win because in the presence of greatness, you don't let Flo write it down. You got to find a way to pull it out there, and they did. And a weird night at the ballpark. They've had a couple of these lately, Corey, where it's just like doesn't feel right. Like even the Sánchez game the other night, it felt like a loss, and then they were able to salvage it. And I put this in our Discord last night, which you can get by becoming a diehard here at PHLY and All City Network. The numbers, Jeff Kerr put it out since Luis Arise's arrival, and I said this earlier on Anthony's show, Arise's arrival.
The Arisal?
Yeah, the Arisal. The Phillies offense is 3rd in Major League Baseball in batting average. It's 1st in OBP. It's 1st in walk rate. It's 30th in K rate. It's 1st in walk to K ratio, and it's tied for 4th in runs. And there was a debate going in our Discord last night, like, Justin TTP, who's a great diehard, talk with him all the time. He was like, I don't know if I can give Arise total compliments for turning this around. I think it's more like guys are finally finding the back of their baseball cards, and a Bohm and a Stott who slumped for the first 2 months of the season are showing you who they are again. And I was like, I don't know if you can say that. Like, yes, to a degree, that's true. But I think there's a direct correlation between men on base and runs scored. I think there's a direct correlation to their OBP rising because Bryce Harper is walking more than ever with Luis Arraez behind him. Yes, Bryson Stott and Alec Bohm are on absolute heaters, but in Alec Bohm's case, it couldn't get much worse. When Alec Bohm himself after Saturday night is like, yeah, like I'm around Luis Arraez, I see some things. I see the plane of his swing and what he does with his hands, and I'm picking up some things. I think you can give credit to Luis Arraez for flipping this offense around a little bit. He's probably not as steady, and I think he'll get there by the end of September, of what he's been in his career. But it's like 2 weeks of, and I know some bad opponents, the Twins, the Marlins, yeah. But like, I think he has changed things.
Well, I mean, it elongates the lineup by one spot. I think that's the biggest
Completely.
thing. And elongating the lineup by one spot goes a very, very significant way. The funny thing is, these 2.5 weeks the Phillies have had of Arraez, they've been his worst 2.5 weeks the entire season. He's at 274 with a 292 on base percentage as a Philly. There has not been 1 2-week stretch the entire rest of the season that Arraez has a batting average and OBP that low. So that's the funny thing, is that they've kind of turned this offense around without getting what you expected out of Luis Arraez, which will come pretty soon. He had 3 hits last night. You're probably going to see more of that moving forward. But to me, it just really comes down to Alec Bohm. I mean, Alec Bohm's hitting. And so all season long, the Phillies have needed another right-handed bat. They've needed someone who's actually coming through in the middle of the lineup after the Harper, Turner, Schwarber. And look at what Bohm's done. I mean, the last 9 games have really fueled this turnaround for him. 16 for 32, hitting 500, doing it with extra base hits, driving in runs. If you extrapolate that out to like a month, it's 343 with 24 RBIs. Now, those numbers that over the 29-game span, they're obviously drastically raised by the fact that he's done this over the last 9 games and needs to continue to do this, Bohm does, in order to justify the entire defensive reconfiguration the Phillies have made. The season OPS is up to 688, which is the highest it's been since the 3rd game of the season back on March 29th.
Jeez.
And he's honestly, Bohm, I know that he missed the ball from Arraez, which went down as an error last night for Arraez in the 6th inning, but he's looked okay defensively. He made a play earlier this series, Monday night against the Marlins, where he snagged a short hop late in the game that helped him preserve a 1-run win.
How about that double play last night? That was a huge play. You get the man on first where he catches the liner and toe taps the bag.
Absolutely.
He's so weird in the field because he did improve over time at third base in his time here in Philadelphia. But like, maybe it's because he's tall. He botches some plays that like are routine plays, but then occasionally he'll pull these Gold Glove plays out of his back pocket, and you're just like wow.
His hands aren't terrible.
No.
I mean, like, there were a lot of plays that he would make at third with his hands. It's just that the range isn't what you would want really at either corner infield spot. But first base, you know, I'm not going to say it's easy like in the movie Moneyball or whatever, but like
it's incredibly hard.
It is easy. It is easier. It is easier than third base though. So there are fewer things that Bohm has to like worry about athletically at first
Did you hear
base.
something? You hear choppers? They coming for us? Henry Hill?
Here's some music from somewhere.
It's Flow Rider!
It's coming. They're dropping him right into the studio. I mean, at first base, there are fewer things athletically that Bohm has to worry about, I think, than there are at third base, and the reaction time, obviously, too. So maybe a little bit less that he's thinking about, more clear-headed at the plate. But every year of his career, he's gone on a stretch like this for 6 weeks. Bohm has. If this is the beginning of one of those stretches, great sign for the Phillies, because you need him to be finishing strong. It matters way more that he's hitting right now than it would have in May. And, you know, there's still a portion of the fan base that isn't convinced and won't be convinced, because you need to do it for more than 9 games, but he's really helped fuel this offensive turnaround for the Phils.
Philly Rick, I know Randy brings it up in the comments section here. Extend Bohm, extend Bohm, extend Bohm. Come on, lock him up. Let's give him a 10-year deal. Let's give him a Mark Walters special. Eh? All right, on the other side.
Hey, I'll just say last thing. Bohm needs this too for himself, because this is helping him reestablish free agent value. He's a free agent after the season.
If he can finish the season strong, like, he'll get a 1-year, what do you think, $8-9 million offer?
No idea what to expect next year based on the landscape financially, but he's right now on pace to drive in like 87-ish runs, which that's not the be-all, end-all.
He has a chance to be the team leader in RBIs, and that sounds absurd. Absurd.
Well, he's 8 for his last 13 with runners in scoring position, so he's getting it done late. And I mean, the numbers for the season, 339 with runners in scoring position. So he's had a ton of RBI opportunities, among the most in baseball Bohm has, but you can't.
That's why I've never doubted him.
But you can't argue with the 339. And, we said on this show as recently as last week, the week before, that they were a better team all around when you incorporate the offense and defense if you have De La Cruz or Hill in right field and Harper at first base. And I'm still not convinced that Bohm at first base is the answer, because there's also the Bryce Harper health component of this.
Oh, no, he's most certainly not the answer.
I'm saying rest of season.
Oh, okay.
Because the other thing you have to consider, too, is that when we were having this conversation, there was the Bryce Harper talking about the knee soreness that he was feeling and the fact that it was hurting when he was starting and stopping in the outfield. So that all weighs into it as well. Like, Harper's been taking a ton of walks lately. He has an on-base percentage of .520 this month, but he hasn't driven the ball as much as he was early in the summer. I wonder if some of that is knee-related. I wonder
100%.
I wonder if some of the additional selectivity is because he's trying to find other ways to contribute, knowing that he is not hitting for as much power. Last night, Harper just missed a home run off Michael Peterson in the decisive 6th inning, hit a line drive, a shot to left field. It was caught at the warning track, but hopefully Harper's power comes around here as well.
Yeah. All right. We got a lot to talk about today. We're going to give you a down on the farm report because the minor league season is wrapping up in the very near future. We want to check in with some of the big names and Spangler. Preston Mattingly said, we'll see him soon.
You're a big Bogan pole guy.
Oh, I love Bogan pole. Talk dirty to me with exit velocities. But on the other side, we'll talk about what the Brewers did last night. We'll talk about we'll touch on the Dodgers situation, which is going to be fascinating because it affects all of Major League Baseball. We got a lot to get to yet today. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Xfinity has a 5-year price guarantee. What if you knew you could have reliable and intelligent Wi-Fi? And what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? That's the Xfinity 5-year guarantee. Imagine a Wi-Fi at home that makes everything work together. It finds problems and fixes them before you even notice them, like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a 6th sense. And that lets you stream the game, even when your whole family is online. All your devices in perfect harmony for 5 whole years. And here's the best part. No annual contracts, no hidden fees, and Xfinity's best equipment included. Take it from me. A lot can change in 5 years. Championships are won, records are broken, and dreams grow bigger. But your Wi-Fi, it should stay reliable, and the price should stay put. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities with Xfinity. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Select plans only, restrictions apply. Elkin Chevrolet, run by 3 brothers. Real brothers, local guys, and Philly sports nuts. And right now, these guys are going all in. Check out their inventory of Chevy trucks and SUVs, the ones that people actually want, and they're priced to move fast. Silverados, Equinoxes, Trax, Trailblazers. If it's on your list, they have it, and they're going quick. So if you've been waiting, don't wait anymore, because once they're gone, they're gone. Whether it's getting to a game, getting to work, hitting the road this summer season, or getting down to your favorite game in town, you'll be driving on the right side at the right price, and that makes it easy to say yes. And here's the difference. No runaround, no back and forth, no games, just real brothers making real deals every single day. Elkin Chevrolet, real brothers, real deals, and a whole lot of honking good service. Route 73 South in Marlton, New Jersey. PHLY Phillies podcast live here in the Xfinity Lounge, presented by Wawa. Phillies continue the hot streak. And then tonight, Corey, the Phillies are plus 145 underdogs. Aaron Nola versus Sandy Alcantara.
You got it.
Did it. Bang. Don't call me Alcantara, you SOB. Is it weird that I kind of like him tonight? Nola? I know Alcantara's having a great year. Surprised he wasn't moved, but I guess the Marlins thought they were in it. And I guess still technically they kind of are.
He is having a really, really good bounce back year.
He is.
Alcantara. I mean, last season he was not the same guy he was back in his Cy Young heyday, but
sure.
This year, he's been averaging like 7 innings a start the entire summer. And the Marlins, I think, are 10-4 his last 14. So, this is their guy. This is their Sánchez.
Aaron Nola's been sneaky good lately.
He has. And he's pitched well against the Marlins twice this year.
I kind of like him as dogs tonight. The Phillies have some kind of mojo going right now, and they're riding a hot streak. You said earlier this week, I guess on Monday, that was it you or was it somebody else, Phillies are one of the only teams in Major League Baseball. Maybe it was on Anthony's show yesterday to not have a 5-game winning streak or something.
That wasn't me.
It wasn't you. I think they're one of the only teams to not have like a 5+ game winning streak. Is that?
No, that's not true. Phillies, they have a 5-game winning streak right now, and they had
They might have just gotten it.
They had the long winning streaks under Mattingly.
Okay. All right. Maybe I misheard. I'm drunk. I'm doing a lot of shows this week.
Yeah, you are doing a lot.
I have so much information swirling in my head. We have rank week going on, and our social guys out.
And VG with one of his voodoo stats.
All right. Disregard. Ethan, dump that. You can delete the previous 25 seconds, right? But we got a lot to get to today. We're going to give you a down on the farm report because some of these Phillies prospects are kind of exciting a little bit.
You know what, Jamie? Sorry to interrupt you, but you might have been right. They have not had longer than a 5-game winning streak.
That's what it was.
Because
5+.
They've won like 9 of 10.
Yes.
You know, but they haven't won 6+. So
all right.
They might do it today.
All right. I'm not completely blacked out drunk. I knew there was something floating around my brain cage about that. 5 was the season high. Thank you, holy ass. I love saying holy ass. Thanks for being here, everybody. Everybody hit that thumbs up button for holy ass. All right. So the wild card picture here, before we get to the Dodgers House of Card fraudville and ruining Major League Baseball for everyone, because I think the Phillies should be retroactively named champions of last year.
Why not?
Ethan, do you agree? I hear you snickering in there. Should the Phillies not be deemed World Series champions in 2025? Thank you. Thank you for your support.
Orion Kirkering gets credit for the putout.
Right, yeah. Mark Walter's a fraud, and he ruined this guy between the ears. Anytime Orion is making a play on a ball in the field, I'm just like, oh, God.
You're thinking Mark Walter.
I'm like, please get it and throw it properly. Like, please don't mentally collapse.
Hey, he's had a big series, Kirkering, right?
He has, yeah.
He's gotten some big outs. The Phillies were a little thin at the end of the bullpen last night. Appeared in both games. Both
really?
Hey, got the save?
He did. I don't know how I feel about
Brooks
him.
Raley?
I don't have a ton of confidence in him.
Well, now you have another soft toss in lefty and Nestor Cortes. You can throw him back to back.
Yeah. But taking a look, the Phillies have made up 4 games on the Braves in the last 6. 5.5 back now of the Atlanta Braves.
You play him 7 more times, too.
Yeah. Kind of. I don't want to start to think about NL East because I'm more worried about the wild card. But making up some ground here, back in a playoff position.
I don't know if it really even matters. Because even if you win the NL East, you're going to be the 3 seed. The only difference would be you would get a home. You get that first wild card round where you'd be at home, right? That would be the only difference. But you're still going to be facing, like if the Phillies were to finish as the 3, they would face the Braves probably, right? Or they would face the Diamondbacks. Your opponent would probably pretty much still be the same. The difference is you'd have the best of 3 at Citizens Bank Park, where the Phillies have, they've played well this season, but we've also seen them lose playoff games. But at this point, I'm just focused on the fact that they have a little cushion in the wild card race. The teams below them, like you entered the series, the Marlins were 3 behind you. Now they're 5 behind you.
Yeah.
Now you've picked up a little ground on the Diamondbacks, who, by the way, are going through a really bizarre situation.
So Ketel Marte's flying back home to Arizona to get his knee.
He already did, apparently.
Looked at or scoped.
It just seems like there's a lot going on that we don't know about. There's a lot going on that probably won't be reported either. Like it seems personal stuff. I saw Archie Bradley, the former Phillies reliever, who was a longtime Diamondback.
I think he lives out there now.
There was a video of him yesterday, I guess, on his podcast talking about knowing Ketel Marte, that there's stuff going on that we don't know about. And it's pretty serious, but. Either way, I mean, that's a guy who's been connected to the Phillies for a couple of years now as a trade candidate. And I would imagine this is probably going to be the end of his Arizona tenure.
I would think so, yeah.
So you might hear that conversation again.
He's a really good player, too.
He is. And honestly, just a real quick double back to Stott. Bryce Stott has been fantastic defensively.
Unbelievable. He's my third baseman of the future. I'm ready to crown him. Good.
And that gives you a lot more flexibility now because you don't have to go sign a third baseman. You could sign a second baseman. You could sign a shortstop and move your shortstop to second base. There are a lot of different things you can do now because Stott has looked so damn good defensively.
You could, if Trey Turner becomes an outfielder next year, also potentially consider Stott. I know he's not as good of a shortstop as he is as a second baseman, but he's making this transition to third so well that I'm like, what can't this kid do?
He's a really good player all around.
Yeah, he really is. The Padres are 8-2 in their last 10, and last night Fernando Tatis Jr. made one of the swaggiest Grand Slam robberies of the Mets. We're cheering for the Mets last night, unfortunately, but Tatis has reemerged, and his numbers since his slump in the first 2 months of the season are eye-popping. He's up to like 15 home runs over the last 2 months. He's just carrying that team. He is fully back.
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to happen. I mean, Fernando Tatis Jr., this entire season, you've kind of lumped him in with Vladimir Guerrero Jr., where these superstars having these really down seasons. But yeah, 15 home runs in his last 75 games after I don't think he had any leading up to that point, Tatis. But the home run robbery last night, pretty cool. Not only did he leap over the wall to
put on some showmanship.
It was a grand slam that he saved Robbie Ray from giving up. And after he got it, kind of like didn't make it obvious that he caught the ball. He kind of like stood there stoically, flexed a little bit, and then like you see the ball come out, you hear the groans from Mets fans, you see Robbie Ray pounding his glove. Pretty cool moment. That's, you know, the Phillies may very well end up facing the Padres in the playoffs, and that's a team they've had the Padres number now for years. During this entire Bryce Harper run of Phillies baseball, you know, they went 6-0 against the Padres this year. Famously, the Bedlam at the Bank game was against the Padres. My entire life, the Phillies have been good against the Padres.
Yeah.
You go back to the Ryan Howard era, they were going out there and beating up on San Diego in San Diego. So I'd be feeling good even if they face the Padres.
Yeah. Rudivad. I don't know how you pronounce that one, but I love the avatar with Dombrowski with an X through it. Says, I'd rather get a power right-handed bat to play third long-term. I hear you. I don't know if that person exists.
Yeah, it just depends. What I'm saying is that you could go sign a third baseman and move Stott back to second. You could sign a second baseman. Yeah, you have a lot of
optionality, as Sam Hinkie would say.
It's like in fantasy baseball. Now you have another guy you can slot in at your utility spot. You know what I'm saying? Like it just gives you a lot more. Did you say optionality? Exactly, optionality.
Yeah. Sam Hinkie, shout out the great one. Yes, the Padres are a little bit of a problem. It was fun. My daughter, my oldest. What do we got? That's what's in. Those guys ruined that franchise. My oldest, Skylar, she's 7, and she knows she's got me because she loves the Phillies. But, like, she'll be engaged, and she'll legit – like, last night she was like, what's that white box? And, like, what does it mean? And I was like, oh, that's the strike zone. Like, you know, I was explaining, like, it's so hard to be a baseball player because you have to be patient for your pitch, and then it has to be a good pitch to hit. And then she was like, who has the most wins in baseball? Ooh. So I pulled up the standings with her, and I'm going through it.
The Brewers right now?
The Brewers got their 78th win last night, Corey. And they did it in historical fashion. It wasn't on my radar. I saw they had 77 when I was looking at the standings with her, and I was like, damn, they just 6-4 in their last 10. They just don't skip a beat. And then young Ethan texts us, Brewers, damn. And I go to my sports app, and I look at the box score, and I see 22-0 over the Seattle Mariners. Turns out it's the largest lopsided shutout victory in Major League Baseball history.
I did not know that. To quote Johnny Carson.
I did not know that.
No, I mean, that's
unbelievable. And when they were down 20-0, Julio Rodriguez had one of the biggest brain farts you will ever see. And honestly, if this happened in a one-run game, I'm benching him for a game. But when you're down 20-0, it's almost like, whatever, dude.
I mean, why was he even still in the game?
He caught a second out in center field, turns around and chucks the ball into the stands, and the Brewers got another run.
2 runs.
2 runs because it was still a live in-game play.
I was curious when I saw that, like, how was that scored? Does that count as a double sack fly? Does that count as a 2-run sack fly? So it went down as an error on Julio Rodriguez that allowed the extra run to score. But Christian Yelich did get the sack fly for the first run. But the Brewers, man, they're a force to be reckoned with.
But they haven't done it in the playoffs yet. Do you think there's anything different about this year's Brewers? Because they're a team, they're a very well-run organization. We're about to do the Phillies down on the farm. Like the Brewers they scout, they develop, they do things right. They just can't get it done in the postseason.
Yeah, they have like 6 legit hitters between Turang, Churio, Bowers, Contreras, Yelich. I guess Andrew Vaughn you could throw in there against lefties. They have very good pitching with Mizorowski and Kyle Harrison, although Kyle Harrison, is he really going to be a viable number 2 starter in the playoffs, or is he going to be more of a guy who gives up 3 runs in 4 innings? I mean, that's going to be the determinant for them is do they – honestly, for them, they have the talent. They've had the talent the last couple of years, the Brewers. They haven't been able to get over the hump. And one of these years, they're bound to win a World Series, right? It's like the law of averages. Hopefully it's not this one.
Yeah, and the Cubs are right on their heels, 74 wins. They're really, really good.
I like the Cubs a lot. I mean,
PCA is probably your MVP.
They're extremely streaky, the Cubs, but the thing I just like about that might be like the best defense we've seen in the last 10 years from any team in the league.
Their middle infield is awesome.
Everywhere
Center
they're
field,
awesome. Swanson, Horner, Crow Armstrong, like every position, their catching's great. Like for guys like David Peterson, who they just picked up, Clay Holmes, Kevin Gausman, 3 big-time ground ball pitchers, their fortunes are going to totally change having that defense behind them. So I think the Cubs could make some noise too. Pete Crow Armstrong, not only might he be the MVP, despite being this good, he might be the MIP, the most improved player, because he turned from a free swinging guy with like a 290 OBP to one of the most selective hitters in baseball with an on-base percentage 100 points higher.
And you know what I just learned yesterday? The Mets selected him and traded him. I didn't realize that he was a Mets first-round pick. I forgot he was part of the Baez deal.
Yeah, that's a huge –
that is a LOL Mets to the Mets.
I just see it all the time on baseball Twitter that it's brought up like literally every time the guy has a good game.
Good.
You see Mets fans whining.
I don't know how I missed that one, but
it was a half season of Javier Baez and Trevor Williams, like the number 5 starter. They gave up PCA, who at that point,
was highly touted.
He was highly touted, but he wasn't seen as like this offensive.
Sure.
The defense was thought to be top-notch. The speed was thought to be top-notch, but few saw him developing into this sort of like all-around great player. And it is going to be fascinating whether it's him or Shohei Ohtani who wins the MVP. There's going to be some voter fatigue with Ohtani.
Sure.
He threw 85 innings this year. He's probably not going to pitch again the rest of the season. You have to weigh the offensive Ohtani, who's been MVP level just with his offense, plus the 85 innings, or Pete Crow Armstrong, his defensive value is just as much as his offensive value.
Yeah.
So it really is going to be a debate for the
Stop
ages.
crying so much as he has more walks this season than in the last 2 years combined.
PCA? Wow.
That's wild. And then the Dodgers. And real quick, we're not going to deep dive this at all. I do just want to talk about it because this is a developing story over the last 24 hours. But the Guggenheim Group and CEO Mark Walter, they're in it. They're in some bleep. And everybody said, any ownership group can do this. And this deferred contract Pandora's box they opened on Major League Baseball, this is getting really, really interesting. So basically what happened is the Guggenheim Group in February had some grand jury subpoenas opened into loans they were taking out, because part of the Guggenheim Group is life insurance policies and companies. And I think they have 5 or 6 life insurance companies. Basically, what they were doing was taking money that clientele was giving these life insurance groups and robbing Peter to pay Paul and shuffling their money and assets around.
They were giving that money to Kyle Tucker?
Basically, yes. And these deferred deals that they probably in the back of their mind knew they wouldn't be ownership group in 2045. And hey, it's the next owner's problem. Well, guess what? Mark Walter owes $8 billion in loan repayments. And apparently his financial house of cards is already under subpoenas and then being investigated. But he owes $7.6 billion by December 1st that apparently he can't pay. And he's being forced to sell. And this is where the Lakers comes into it. He's being forced to sell his share of the Lakers. He has to generate a lot of cash in quick, or he's in serious trouble. That's why he's selling the Lakers, to get a cash inflow to dump into the Dodgers. And he owes a lot of money to a lot of people, and his loans are getting called to the carpet, and the tax bill is due. And a lot more to come on this story. It just started kind of breaking early yesterday afternoon. But the Dodgers may have really, really screwed themselves and the league in general. It's going to be really interesting to see how this story plays out, Corey, because you kind of felt like, okay, yeah, they might have more money than you, but if you're taking it out of life insurance policies and you owe that money back and you don't have it, that's called insurance fraud.
There's only one solution I can think of, and that's that Major League Baseball dissolves the Dodgers.
Yes.
Returns Tarek Skubal to the Tigers.
Opens all their prospects up to Major League Baseball in a draft.
Returns Shohei Ohtani to the Angels.
Yeah.
I did see the one part. I'm not well read on the story.
It's a developing story, so there's a lot to catch up on.
The one thing I did see is that there's a clause in Shohei Ohtani's contract that if Mark Walter's ever not owning the Dodgers, that he can opt out. So there is like year to year. Who knows what's going to happen with this, but just worth keeping in the back of your mind. Dodgers ruining baseball in more ways than one.
And then the lockouts looming on top. Like, it is a very interesting case and one I'll be following closely. All right, on the other side, we got to go down on the farm and talk Phillies prospects and the big names, what they've been doing as they approach the end of their season. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Parx Casino. It's my casino of choice because it's right there off Street Road in Bensalem. It's a great night out for headline entertainment and award-winning dining. Make the night complete and stay at the beautiful new Parks View Hotel, which is just steps away from the Parx Casino and offers a shuttle service. just announced we have some great shows coming up. Comedian Ben Bankus coming up on August 22nd. Magician Michael Carbonaro on September 19th. Tickets still available for these headliners at Parks Casino. The Excite Center is magnificent. George Thorogood and the Destroyers coming to town August 28th. Sebastian Bach with special guest Steven Adler from Guns N' Roses on October 23rd. Just head to parkscasino.com to buy tickets. You must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER and make it a great date night and stop by one of the terrific restaurants that Parks Casino has. Back to school season is here. It's right around the corner. Summer's winding down, and if you've got kids, you know the drill. New backpacks, new school supplies, filling up the tanks for practices, games, and everything in between. It all adds up quick. That's why I like the Everyday Elite Visa card from TrueMark Credit Union. It rewards the everyday spending you're already doing with up to 4% cash back on eligible purchases. And for a limited time, new cardholders can get a 0% introductory APR on purchases for the first 12 months, then 17.99% APR after that. That's a win before the season even starts. Apply today at TrueMark.com or visit any of the 24 area TrueMark Credit Union locations. Rates based on credit worthiness. Earn up to 4% cash back on eligible purchases. Bonus categories capped annually. Restrictions apply. Visit TrueMark.com for details. Federally insured by the NCUA. Welcome back into the PHLY Phillies podcast. Jamie Lynch, Corey Seidman in the Xfinity Lounge, presented by Wawa. All right, Corey, it has been a little while, and the minor league baseball season is wrapping up in the very near future, and we'll see if Gage Wood finds himself up contributing to the Phillies ball club at the end of the year. We'll see who else may be getting called up as the minor league baseball season wraps up at the end of August. But let's do our Ace Hardware Home Services temperature check on the Phillies prospect and go down on the farm and see what's happening with some of these prospects. Let's start with the name who is near and dear to every Phillies fan's heart. He's a 17-year-old kid, and he's won us over already in the Dominican Summer League Phillies squad who made the playoffs. They're on a tear. He is putting up numbers that are eye-popping and fully expect him to be in Single A next year as a young, maybe almost 18-year-old. Francisco Renteria. He's coming off the Dominican Summer League Player of the Week award, and for good reason. He had a .667 average, a 2.214 OPS. Yes, that number started with a 2. 3 home runs, 6 extra base hits, 5 stolen bases last week. And every time I see his name pop up on Twitter, whether it's from the Phillies developmental account or elsewhere, it's an eye-popping stat line. He's 17 years old. You have to be 17 to get to Single A. That's the lowest age you can be. We expect him to start there. But in 53 games so far in the Dominican Summer League, his slash line is 379, 470, 682 with a 1.152 OPS, 11 homers, 55 RBIs, 9 doubles, 9 triples, 24 stolen bases, and 25 multi-hit games. This kid certainly seems, the Phillies' number 3 prospect, like he is going to be a fast riser in the organization.
I mean, he's the best player in that league right now, and he's not going to be long for that league, obviously, but he's doing it all. He's hitting for power. He's showing speed. He has as many walks as strikeouts, Renteria, and, you know, the defense looks good as well. The build, 6'3", 215 pounds. And when you sign a guy for $4 million in the international market, which is like most of your bonus pool, this is the best case scenario of what you want to see. And the best case scenario is that the guy graduates to the majors and becomes an MVP candidate. But like right now, this is the sort of early trajectory that any team would love to circle and just be able to pin their hopes on. It's funny because 6 months ago, we were talking about Francisco Renteria and fans knew his name from seeing it on prospect lists.
And his dad,
Edgar Renteria. But now it's reached a point where like he's seen as obviously the best prospect in the organization.
Untouchable, I would say, at 17.
And it's only going to rise nationally as well. Like I would expect that coming into next season, for example, Renteria might be like in the top 50 when you see these lists come out, top 40, somewhere around there, just because of the upside. And I mean, This is why you don't trade a guy like this. He's not going to be helping the Phillies anytime soon. He might be coming up when Bryce Harper's reaching the very end of his contract or close to the end of his contract. But if you can get Francisco Renteria up by, say, 21, his play is going to dictate it. You're not going to be able to promote him next year, for example. But if he shows that he's on the ascent and he has the skill set, this could be a real difference maker.
But let's say he starts in single A next year as an 18-year-old and he mashes. Is there any reason why he couldn't be a double A at 18?
I mean, no, if he, we'll see.
It's unprecedented for the Phillies and a lot of clubs to do that. But what else do you have to prove at low A if you're mashing?
Yeah, you just
what you've shown.
You need to show it at every level. There are also a lot of boxes that an organization wants you to check off beyond just like the stat line. Like they want to see, for example, are you handling curveballs? Are you handling spin? Like the numbers might be incredible at, say, next year at single A, but if he's struggling against some under the hood things like advanced spin or whatever, then maybe they keep him there for a little more time. But he's not going to be knocking on the door to the majors anytime soon, but a few years from now.
He could be a 20. Like we've seen one of the trends in Major League Baseball now is 20-year-olds is not out of the question to come up and
Wasn't
contribute.
Kevin McGonigal 19 this season? Yeah.
So maybe the Phillies
20.
finally got one of these phenoms on their hands where we could see him by age 20.
Yeah.
That would be great to see. All right, next up on the Down on the Farm temp check is the second round pick of this year. He's going to be forever tied to Ryan Howard, the second round pick of the Phillies, Caden Bogenpole.
Oh.
And you want to talk about exit velocities? Wow, this kid is mashing right now. He's a second round pick. He's down in Clearwater, and he had a 117 mile an hour exit velocity the other day. He's hitting balls out at 111, 112 miles an hour on the regular. He's a product of Missouri State, which is why he's tied to Ryan Howard, because at Missouri State, he broke Ryan Howard's freshman year record of home runs with 20. So these two are going to be tied at the hip comparison-wise. Same college, same professional team. Profile at the plate is he has a lot of ground ball potential, but he hasn't been showing that so far in Clearwater. He's been elevating the ball a lot, and reading some of his profiles and scouting reports is he's a competitive at-bat guy. He doesn't chase a lot of non-smashable pitches. He has pretty good control over the strike zone. A lot to like early about the Phillies second-round pick this year.
Yeah, Caden Bogenpole, it's only been about 2 weeks that he's been playing at Clearwater, so he's very early on, but he's 21 years old, a college guy, which is why he's already at single A compared to someone like Francisco Renteria, 17 years old, a couple months removed from his junior prom. He's a Dominican.
He's a man. He's 21.
He's a man now. Bogenpole, man, I don't know if you watched the clip of that home run, that 117-mile-per-hour home run, but the way that it just so it obviously was crushed off his bat, a line drive shot, but then once it was in the air, it was almost like there was a jet stream that just blew it into another orbit. It was crazy to see a ball leave the park that quickly. Maybe some of it was due to the conditions. I mean, it's in Florida where it's hot air, obviously. But when you see a swing like that, I don't care if you're a front office guy, a scout, if you're a fan, you
notice.
It catches your eye. It shows you this guy has the tools at least. Now it's up to him to, eliminate swing and miss and become a complete hitter and all that. But corner outfielder, another left-handed hitter, has some power. Second-round pick. Hopefully this guy is able to help you in a couple of years.
Yeah, and he's as high as 7 in the Phillies farm system already. So definitely keep your eye on Bogenpole. A guy that just got moved up, and he's next up, and it's Cody Bowker.
Don't call me John. Remember John Bowker? Yeah. The missing piece of the 2011, I think. They needed another bat, and they brought in John Bowker.
Well, he just got promoted to Double-A Reading, and who is in the middle of a playoff hunt. And it's an aggressive move up, but he has been an absolute K machine, Corey. He has 107 strikeouts in just 75 and a third innings pitched this year, only 27 walks. So good to see another pitcher get aggressively promoted into a playoff kind of atmosphere, but love seeing a K machine.
Yeah, he has an interesting delivery, Cody Bowker. He really releases his hands far apart. There's huge extension between his delivery and his backhand when he's throwing, and he has this low 3/4 arm slot, so you can see why he's missing so many bats, especially with his breaking ball in the minors. Curious to see how that plays as he moves up the ladder, where maybe hitters are more used to seeing funkiness. But this is another guy that could potentially help you as a starter, as a reliever. I just like the deception. It's not just a straightforward, whatever, I'm going to throw 95 with a 2-step delivery. There's just, Like I would encourage fans to go try to find some highlights of Cody Bowker. There was a 7 strikeout game earlier this season because a little bit of interesting name to keep in the back of your mind.
All right, next up is, I see Randy in the chat says, WWW, we want Wood. The question this year is, are we going to see Gage Wood get the call up in September for the big club? He started the Futures game at Citizens Bank Park this summer. His stat line maybe doesn't say, yeah, this is a guy that's going to come up and help. We'll see. But Gage Wood, his last start was on August 14th. He did have 6 Ks, but on the season so far, his stat line, he has a 4.38 ERA and 21 starts between 2 different teams. 76 innings pitched, 112 Ks, which is really good. Only 25 walks, really good. A 1.24 whip. You'd probably like to see that a little bit lower. And opponents are batting 236 on the year versus them, which is pretty solid. Gage Wood, obviously one of the big names in the farm system.
Yeah, I mean, right-handed batters have done nothing against him for most of the season. Lefties have hit Gage Wood for a little more power. The numbers that I just jump off the page to me are the 112 strikeouts to 25 walks in 76 innings. The other part of this is 76 innings is by far the most he's ever pitched. So Gage Wood's career high in college, for example, was 40 innings. He's already at 76.
Yeah.
So if he makes
dead arm period a little bit, getting used to it.
But beyond that, I'm just saying I don't know how much more he's going to pitch this season. You're not going to want to push him to 110 innings if you're the Phillies when the guy's never gone beyond 40. So I mean, we've been talking about him as a potential reliever in September, October. I think if you want to do that, you have to kind of quickly make that decision now because you'd want to limit his innings. You want to be getting him maybe into that relief mode. I'm not convinced the Phillies do that. They might very well.
It feels like they're not.
It feels like they're not, probably. You know, the Nestor Cortes move, that's yet another pitcher they just added on a major league deal. Alex McFarland is up in the majors right now as well.
He's been looking pretty good.
He's been okay. Yeah. The walks have been there, but he throws hard, and he's been able to get outs when he needs them. But, yeah, I would, if I were to guess right now, I would think they're not going to be using Gage Wood as a reliever. It would still be cool if they bring him up and still give him a little more variance and upside in that spot, but you have to think about his long-term as well.
So we'll see if you have Wood excitement out there. Maybe temper that Wood. I don't know if we'll see him at the big club. All right, 3 guys to finish out with. One guy who's a defensive specialist, or that's what he's been known as, Ryan Rincon, having a really nice year at the plate. He has 343 at-bats on the year so far. He's batting .254 with a .396 on base, which is really encouraging, an .874 OPS, 25 stolen bases, only caught 4 times, 18 home runs. Just had his 18th home run of the season the other night. 87 hits, 71 runs scored, 92 Ks to 75 walks. Brian Rincon raising his profile this year, Corey, because his bat has come to life.
And this is a guy I do think you'll see in the major leagues over the next 2 years, Rincon, because he's 22 years old. He'll be 23 before the Phillies get to spring training next February. And there are 3 big-time skills here. I mean, there was always the defense. Like Rob Thompson said this year in spring training, Brian Rincon is ready to play shortstop defense in the major leagues today. Like, that's how good and advanced that the defense is, the instincts, and just the athletic ability for Brian Rincon. But what he's done this season, it far surpasses anything he's done offensively before. Like, before, he had never shown power. He had shown selectivity, but it was with like a 190 batting average. But this year, Rincon has hit for power. He's shown speed. He's taken pitches. If you have power, plate selection, and defense, that gets you to the majors. Now it's going to be up to him. Does he become an everyday player? Maybe not, but he could certainly be a utility infielder. He could certainly be a bench shortstop and a guy who can play a couple different positions and maybe pop you one off the bench.
All right, the last 2. Tyler Spangler, the first-round pick this year, high school player out of California. What's the update there? He hasn't played baseball. Well, Preston Mattingly told our friend Greg Murphy the other night that we should see Spangler playing for the Threshers in the, quote, very near future. So it does look like we're going to get a small sample size of Tyler Spangler before fall leagues and winter leagues and all that. So it looks like we'll get a little glimpse of him coming up in the very near future here down in Clearwater.
And that can only help a guy when he gets a couple weeks, even if it's only a couple weeks, to just be around a quote-unquote professional environment, even though it's the minor league. So Tyler Spangler very quickly vaulted into toward the top of the Phillies prospects list, which some of that's because they don't have a ton of strength up top. But
it's not usually a good thing.
There are a lot of guys who, when they get drafted in the first round, though, do quickly find their way in that mix. So hopefully he's able to make good on that selection.
And then last year's first-round pick, Dante Nori, closes us out today. He was injured, so maybe a reflection his play coming off injury and all that. Had a great World Baseball Classic. Thought he was going to build on that. not so much. He's playing for the New Jersey Shore Blue Claws, 219 bats on the year because of those injuries, 247 average, 307 OBP, 668 OPS, only 2 home runs, 21 RBIs, 44 Ks to 17 walks. Probably would have liked to have seen a little more offensively from him this year, but still obviously a very young kid with room to grow.
Yeah, I think you throw out the numbers this year with Dante Nori because he's been hurt like the entire season.
Yeah.
He hurt his shoulder in the World Baseball Classic when he was tearing the cover out. That was
Then he
probably
had
the
a
best
hamstring or something else.
Well, he
come
had
up.
a stress fracture in his hip,
Yeah.
so he missed 2 solid months and just made his return, I think, this week, Dante Nori. So it would be nice if he's able to put together some good at-bats to give himself confidence moving into the fall and winter time, but I think this is more so just like an incomplete season due to injury.
And Aiden Miller, the update is no update, no idea. But thanks to Ace Hardware Home Services for bringing us our temperature check. We got to take one more break, and we'll be right back after this. If it's been a while since your last pest treatment at the house, it's time to get in touch with our friends at Evans Pest Control. This is a good reminder to get ahead of these things. And right now, for returning customers, you can get 5% off your next service. If you haven't had it done in the past 12 months, now's a good time to do it, because when pest treatments lapse, those buggers, literally pests, ants, spiders, bees, rodents, and other common household pests are looking for that place to settle down and call their home. Regular service helps prevent these infestations before they start and keeps your home protected all year round. So if it's been a while, now's the perfect time to reconnect with Evans Pest Control. Use the code RETURN5 when booking your next general pest treatment and get 5% off this limited time welcome back offer. Learn more about it at evanspestmgmt.com and tell them PHLY sent you. It's an on-demand world we live in, so why not take that same philosophy to the ticketing industry? And that's why I use the Game Time app. You can get food delivered to you in no time. You can stream whatever you want right in the palm of your hand. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with the Game Time app. Boom, right there. Download the Game Time app, and it's my favorite. 1, you don't get the hidden fees, so you're not getting sneak attacked at checkout with some fees you didn't know about. 2, a stadium you've never been to. I went to Wrigley last year. They have the old poles. I wanted to make sure I had a good view. Images of your seat views and zone deals. You pick the section, let Game Time pick the seats, and you save. It's a winning opportunity for you. It takes all the stress out of it. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code PHLY for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's code PHLY for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. PHLY Philly Show. It is rank week here at All City. And if you head to allphly.com, you can see the stories. Monday, we did the best basketball players of all time. We polled Diehards. We polled all the staff across our 5 markets. So it was an interactive voting. We had like 750 votes. So it wasn't like one person being like, this is the greatest player ever. No, we wanted to poll everyone and get everyone's opinion and formulate it. Today is the greatest athletes of all time. The list just came out a little bit ago. Michael Jordan took number 1 spot in basketball and athlete. And you may be saying, well, I'll give it to him, because to do what he did and go hit 221 in single A ball or double A ball, is wildly impressive. So I'll give it to him.
Yeah, and if not Michael Jordan, I'd go Derek Hill, maybe. Number 2?
Close to. I think Serena got jobbed, to be honest.
Ooh.
I think she belonged in the top 5. I think Leo Messi got robbed.
Did Islam Makhachev make the list after his dominant performance?
We had some inter-office talk about Usain Bolt the other day. Michael Phelps got some votes. So it's been a fun exercise. And Thursday and Friday is more market-specific. So Thursday, we're doing the top Philadelphia sports villains of all time. Friday is the top Philadelphia uniforms of all time. So those will be fun to see the results there. We decided to play off of that, Corey, and we're going to make it today's Evans Pest home field advantage. We decided to blind rank our top 5 Phillies since 2007. I didn't want to go back and bring Carlton and Schmidt and Ashburn and Robin Roberts and Pete Rose and all these guys into it. I wanted to do this kind of era of John Middleton era guys.
And this is position players only, right?
Position players only, no pitchers. So Roy Halladay, Cliff Lee, Cole Hamels,
Aaron Harang.
Yeah. Zack Wheeler. You got Aaron Harang.
You just glossed right over.
I heard it, and then I was in the middle of it, and I just yes, Aaron Harang was left off of this. But let's send it to extra innings while we hear our blind rankings here. 5 through 1. So I had you submit your 5 to Ethan last night. I submitted my 5. I thought there was a really strong chance we had the same 5 guys. I was more interested in the order that they were going to get ranked because I was comparing guys on baseballreference.com, and there's a couple MVPs in this top 5. I don't think there's a lot of wrong answers.
No.
I think it's kind of like personal preference to a degree. So I'll let you have honors, and let's see Corey's top. Oh, I have to go first, Ethan says.
Okay.
All right, screw you going first. I'm going first. Here's my top 5. I was really torn between 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I considered Rollins for the number 1 spot a lot too. But deep dive in the numbers, I decided to give Bryce the top title. I did the player comp, him versus Utley. Harper's ahead in most statistical categories for their career. I did count kind of his Nat stuff. I didn't make it Phillies specific. Sue me. But I have Bryce 1, Chase 2, Jimmy 3, Ryan 4, Schwarber 5. Like I said, I don't think there's a lot of wrong answers here. I think your top 3 are, and it's really hard for me because Ryan Howard's probably my favorite of this group, and the 6-year run he had is historic in baseball. So, like, I could make the case that he's 1, 2, or 3 too. Like, the pecking order and how you value these players is interesting. Those are my 5. Who do you got?
So I have the same 5 guys in a different order. We both have Schwarber 5th. It's interesting with Schwarber because, like, if you were to sort by WAR, he's not going to be top 5 because he doesn't play defense.
Sure.
But I just think of the impact of the home runs, the scarcity of the home runs, especially these days. I'll take the guy who can hit 50 bombs over someone who can come out and play great, left field defense or whatever. I have Utley 1 because, he's veering toward the Hall of Fame. And
sure.
The 07,
I was very torn on that one. I almost made him 1. I had him 1, deleted it, made Harper 1.
The 05 to 09 period for Utley, it was Albert Pujols and Chase Utley as the 2 best players in baseball. And I really the reason I have Utley 1 and not Harper 1 is because I wouldn't say that there's been a 5-year period where Harper was definitely the best player in baseball or definitely the second best player in baseball. Whereas Utley legitimately was. Like, his 5-year peak was the best 5-year peak any second baseman has had since 1910.
And Ryan Howard, back-to-back Rookie of the Year and MVP seasons.
And with Howard, so from 06 to 09, a 4-year stretch, Howard averaged 50 home runs. He averaged 50 and 143.
And hit 316 in his MVP year.
And, nobody,
insane.
What he did in those 4 years, averaging 50 homers, I don't think anybody's done in 2 years since him.
Crazy.
In 2 or 3 years since him with the 50
He was
and
must-see TV.
Yeah, he was. And he was a little bit underrated during that era because offense was thought of differently. If you hit 265, you were thought of as a low batting average hitter. Now 265 would be like 15th in the league, And then what was the rest of my list? And then Harper 3, Jimmy 4, and Schwarber 5.
It's a really strong 5.
Yeah, you have in that list, you have
3 MVPs.
And Utley never won one.
And he got jobbed. You could make the case that should be 4 MVPs.
And Schwarber was the runner-up last year, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Harper's going to be a Hall of Famer. Utley probably is going to be a Hall of Famer. Schwarber might end up being a Hall of Famer. Jimmy, it'll just depend on whether or not he continues to build momentum. I think maybe there's a chance, but and then Howard, it was just a joke that he was so quickly off the ballot.
Yeah.
He's a guy who should have deserved a lot more consideration, and if he played right now, for example,
if Jeff Kent can get in, Ryan Howard deserved to be on a ballot longer.
Agreed.
So those are our top 5 Phillies since position player only since 2007. And Provolone John, yes, no discredit to Terry Mulholland. I was at his no-hitter at the Vet, so near and dear to my heart.
I think I saw you in the stands on the replay. Little Jamie.
That was
bouncing up and down.
That was the old Hatfield Franks. You'd buy a pack of hot dogs and get free Phillies tickets back in those days. So yeah, that a little fun exercise. But make sure you're checking out allphly.com. We're 1 week away from the Osprey Awards. If you can join us next Wednesday night at the Fittler Club downtown, it's going to be a lot of fun. Eagles Award Show, special guests. We're going to have a night of laughs, drinks, food, and hanging out with some sickos and diehards. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you to Ethan Hartley producing today's show behind the scenes. Thank you to Corey Seidman. I am Jamie Lynch. We will be back Friday at 12 noon right here on the PHLY Phillies podcast. Have a great rest of the day, everyone. See ya.
small city like the mayor.